Theseus was the legendary king of Athens. He fought many battles. In return, people of Athens dedicated a memorial in his honor by preserving his ship at the port. This ship stayed there for hundreds of years. As time passed, some of the wooden planks started rotting away. To keep the ship nice and complete, the rotting planks were replaced with new planks. What if 50% of the planks were replaced with new ones? Would people still recognize it as a ship of Theseus? But what truly defines a ship? Is it its material, its form, its function, or something else entirely? These questions fall under ontology, the branch of philosophy that explores the nature of existence. It seeks to understand what gives the ship its shipness, the essence that makes it what it is. Aristotle was the first to discuss the cause of the things, explaining why things exist or change. He identified 4 causes. The material cause of a ship is the material that it is made of. The formal cause is the description of its shape or form. The efficient cause is the process by which the shipmaker made it. The final cause is the reason for which it was made.
What if all the planks were replaced except one? Is the single plank at the bottom enough to call it the Ship of Theseus? At what point does it cease to be the same ship? There's no single objective answer to these questions. Some philosophers say that changing one plank changes the ship and makes it no longer the Ship of Theseus. Others claim that as long as there is at least one plank from the original, it is still the original. There are also those who say that the changed ship is always the same as the original ship because it has the form of the original. What happens if the people who replace the planks make mistakes and the ship has a slightly different form? What if we make so many changes to the ship that it can no longer float out to sea? Can we still call it the ship of mighty Theseus if it cannot perform the same function as the original?
But let us discuss just one more scenario. Imagine that every time a plank is replaced, rather than throwing away the old one, we store them in a warehouse. After some time, all old planks were assembled into a ship. This new construction is made to look exactly like an old ship. Which ship has a right to call itself the Ship of Theseus? Every person changes over time. We grow from infants to old. What properties does a 3-year-old have in common with their 83-year-old self? These philosophical questions are called the problems of personal identity. What are the properties that make a particular human being? We are not the same person we were several years ago. Nevertheless, we are still considered as the same person.
Is the Ship of Theseus the same after replacing all of its planks? The proper response is that the definition we have for the ship is not clear enough to provide an answer to that question. There is no exact definition of the Ship of Theseus. The Ship of Theseus does not really exist as the Ship of Theseus. It exists merely as a collection of sensory experiences. Yes, if you kick it, you feel pain in your toes. When you look at it, you see brown wood. If you taste it, you might notice stale wood and salt. But these are all just sensations that one learns to associate with something we call the Ship of Theseus. Human beings combine these sensations and form the Ship of Theseus. Of course, the ship exists as atoms, but the atoms are not tagged as the ship's atoms. Rather, it is we who make those atoms into a whole entity called a ship. It's all in our mind. Fortunately, we live in a society where people learn to assign the same names to similar recurring stimuli. Each of us calls these similar stimuli the Ship of Theseus. Because we agree on this naming convention, we can communicate without confusion.
Essentially, it's the memories of the crew that make the ship, not the parts that make it up. As long as those memories remain, the ship will always be the ship, no matter if it still has all its original wood or if it's on the 3rd set of replacement. Nevertheless, the existence of the Ship of Theseus is an illusion. There is no enduring identity. It involves something known as mereological essentialism. It is the idea that parts of an object are absolutely necessary for it to be what it is. If the object loses or gains a part, it would not be the same object anymore. It would essentially become a different thing. Everything is in flux, everything is ever changing. That means there is no self. Me telling myself that there is something essentially the same about me as there was when I was 5 years old is just a useful fiction, a delusion we all allow ourselves to keep to make things easier. And again, thanks for watching.